Festival spirit is always lifted high with festival cooking, and for me to begin with my festival food for today, the first thing in the morning I have soaked 1 cup of urad dal and quarter cup of tur dal, which have been soaking in nicely. I've also got all the vegetables needed for today's cooking washed and ready to use. And you must have also noticed I'm wearing a super soft light in weight sari that I just love draping on festival days, and I can easily carry it on for the whole day even while cooking the food. Now to begin making the first dish for today, I'm planning to make Alugade Chitranna, also called as potato rice. Now for the entire cooking for today, I will not be using onions, garlic or ginger, as we offer the food cooked to God. And I'm also using coconut oil for the whole of the entire festival food cooked for today. Now in a pan, I add in a tablespoon of coconut oil, a teaspoon of mustard seeds, covering it up as much as I can to cover the seeds from spluttering all over the hob, a teaspoon of chana dal, a teaspoon of urad dal, 2 big potatoes cut in big large chunks. I sprinkle in very little of salt, giving it a stir and then covering it up with a lid for faster cooking, and also requiring very little of oil. Now in the meanwhile, I have already got the rice which is cooked, that I transfer it into a big mixing bowl, allowing it to cool down completely. I separate a little portion to keep aside to eat with dal. With the lid covered and steam building up, potatoes get cooked way faster, reducing the cooking time in the kitchen. I've got to keep the pressure cooker occupied, so I drain the water from the tur dal, adding it into the pressure cooker with fresh water and setting it to cook for 2 whistles. Checking on the potatoes to see if they are done. They're soft from inside and beautiful and crispy from outside and not sticking at all. I'm adding in half a teaspoon of green chili paste, 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric powder, giving it a good stir and then combining it with plain rice. I squeeze in half a fresh lime, salt to taste, and that's it. I just combine, ensuring the rice granules are still maintaining the shape and not mushed. Cooking the entire food, which is perfect for the family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children. The first item done in 10 minutes time. Now I'm planning to make Courgette Peanut Palya, for which I dry roast 2 handful of peanuts. Using the same pan, parallelly I'm chopping 1 big size courgette, which is also called as zucchini. Now if you're not familiar with this vegetable, or if you do not get this vegetable in your region, alternatively to the same recipe that I'm making, you can use bell peppers, which is also called as don menshunkai or called as shimla mirch in Hindi, which will taste really good as well. I'm roasting the peanuts, making sure they get done evenly, and then transferring them onto a plate to cool down. In the meantime, I will quickly make peas palya, which has got no chopping needed or required. I add in a tablespoon of coconut oil, half a teaspoon of chana dal, half a teaspoon of urad dal that I stir for them to turn crunchy, a cup of frozen peas that get done very quickly, adding in very little of water to create moisture. To this, I add in 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric powder, quarter teaspoon of green chili paste. Now I do not have fresh coconut at home, so I'm using desiccated coconut. I add in a teaspoon of sugar, salt to your taste, and I combine everything well. I turn off the flame and I squeeze in fresh lime to finish off. If I were to do this palya for normal daily cooking, then I would have added in onions to this recipe, but for today, no onions. I have plans to use the same pan for further cooking, so I transfer the peas palya into a serving bowl. Second item completely done. With the peanuts now cooled down, I rub the skin between my palm, as this is a very small portion. It takes just a minute or 2. And I crush them coarsely. This palya tastes nice with peanuts crushed coarsely, which is half done. We don't want it to be a fine powder. I add in a tablespoon of coconut oil, half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, courgettes that are cut lengthwise into strips, with very little of salt that I sprinkle in, giving it a stir, and then I cover it and so that it gets cooked faster. Courgettes taste really good on their own or when included in any of the recipes. It is very easy to cut and gets cooked fast as well. Now to this, I add in half a teaspoon of red chili powder, and then I add in the peanut powder. salt to taste. As I combine, I felt I could add in the remaining peanut powder. So yeah, this is it. A very simple, very easy, very quick and healthy courgette and peanut palya that can just be made in minutes is an apt dish that you can include in your festival platter, which is now ready. Tur dal is pressure cooked. So I set making Nimbe hanina Thave, which is also called as fresh lime rasam. If I were making this on normal days, then I do add in a lot of garlic to this recipe. But for today, I add in a teaspoon of coconut oil, a teaspoon of mustard seeds, a teaspoon of jeera, which is cumin seeds, 1 green chili, and cooked dal water. Using the back of the ladle, I mush the tur dal completely and then add it in as well. To this, I add in 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric powder and I set it to boil. This is a very simple, satisfying Thave to be eaten with rice. I squeeze 1 whole fresh lime and salt to taste. Honestly, I find festival cooking a lot easy as there is no onions to be chopped and sauteed. And I plan it in such a way, cooking lots of varieties that are very simple and yet very healthy, requiring minimal chopping, saving up a lot of time in cooking. Nimbe hanina Thave is now ready. I like to incorporate fruits into the festive platter, adding in freshness and color with fresh oranges. And citrus fruits are such a must to eat. So here is a very tasty recipe. I cut open the thin skin, peeling off the thin layer of the orange segments, keeping all of them ready. Looks like we will have 2 segments of oranges per head. I squeeze in fresh lime, salt and red chili powder. These orange segments will taste incredibly good that you've got to try. Now normally we make Bevu Bella for Ugadi that I've already shown earlier. So I'm going to link up that video at the end of this video. So just make sure to watch it. Today I'm making a sweet dish called Gargi, which is super fast to make and tastes really good using jaggery. I'm making a very small portion, so using this cup to measure 1 cup of jaggery, 1 cup of water that I set to melt on the hob, stirring in until the jaggery melts. And I turn off the flame. Straight away into this I add in 1 cup of chapati ka atta, which is also called as gode hittu, and then I give it a good mix. I keep it ready to be deep fried later. I have urad dal that has been soaking for almost 6 hours now. I drain the water and then add the dal into the mixie jar. Now to make Udin vade, I haven't added any water as this is my very small mixie jar for making powders and chutneys, but I add in salt, which will help to blend in easily and is also easier to mix now than later. If you find using a mixie jar hard when blending urad dal, then yes, you can add in water. Just make sure you add in very little of water. I stop cooking at this point. Later in the evening when kids are back home from school and it's almost dinner time, I continue to finish making garma garam gargi and Udin vade. I add in a pinch of cooking soda, a teaspoon of rice flour, a teaspoon of fine semolina into the Udin vada batter. Now with the Udin vada batter ready and the sweet dish gargi thing also is ready, all I've got to do is deep fry them. So I prefer doing the sweet dish first, for which I have set oil in a karai to deep fry. So first I wet my palm with water and take very little portion, make it a ball and then flatten it down to deep fry. This is a very tasty sweet dish called gargi, and as you see, it is this very simple and quick to make, making festival cooking a lot vibrant but still very, very easy. With the Udin vada batter ready, I wet my palm with water and I lift up a small portion, making a ball and then pressing a hole in the center to make Udin vade, deep frying them to eat nice and hot. Flipping them over once you see them change color to beautiful golden color. With the oil hot and ready to use, any kind of papad or fry-ins that you already have at home can be deep fried easily, adding in more dishes without any effort. And also tell me who doesn't like a big fat platter with crispy papad. In a small container, I have water waiting for it to come to a good boil. In a wide vessel, I have low-fat yogurt which I use as huli masuru. We want the yogurt to be sour in taste, which will taste really good. I add in water for a pouring consistency and salt to taste. Now with the water bubbling, I add in vadas, one for each. And I have turned off the flame, covered it with a lid, waiting for just 4 minutes time. Parallelly, I am working on the last element, which is the 10th element, using dried figs and fresh pear. I chop the figs roughly, and with the skin peeled off the pear, I chop it into cubes. Place both of them in a bowl. Adding in cinnamon powder, a teaspoon of honey. This turned out to be the best and my favorite on the platter. So today's platter, we have recipes with fresh fruits and dried fruits as well, creating a variety. Now that I have Udin vada ready, I thought I should be making in one more item which is quite easy to make, which is dahi vada, Masar vada, or also called as dahi balla. Now by keeping the vadas in water, they will become soft and also nicely soak in the majge, which is buttermilk. I use 2 spoons. I hold the vadas and squeeze out the water, placing them directly into the buttermilk. I sprinkle in red chili powder, jeera powder, and finally to finish off, I have chopped coriander leaves to sprinkle in into all the dishes to complete. So we have very small portions of all that is cooked for today, which will be yet sufficient for all 4 of us, with 10 different varieties which were all quite easy to make, asking very little of time in the kitchen. After all the cooking for today, I finally close the back door now, offering it to God with all the lids open. Even though it's a pre-festival platter that I have made today in the name of the video, I haven't tasted anything but feel this has to be offered first to God. And then to my kids who love eating festival food. They thoroughly enjoy all the varieties that I make for them, and after every festival they ask me when is the next festival coming. So in today's Ugadi platter, I have made Vatani Usali, Courgette and Peanut Palya, Pear and fig mix, Alugade Chitranna, Udin vade, Nimbu orange, Gargi, Anna, Nimbe hanina Thave, Masar vada and Hapala, that I have got to sit down and enjoy it peacefully. There are many of us who always think festival cooking can be quite tedious. Well, not really. Festival cooking can be easy and made all vibrant with fresh produce and easy ingredients. Also important to keep in mind to make small portions which will be quick to make and also sufficient, as there will be lots of varieties that will easily fill you up completely. Hope you all have a lovely Ugadi with all that you choose to make for your family. Take care. Thanks for watching this video. Bye for now.